Her name is Dipstick. She's a beautiful animal, and as you can tell, I'm feeding her chicken legs. It looks, I put 2 in there. She eats about 2 a week, but since I've switched her over to chicken, I tell you, she is looking so much better. Shedding has been better. She's just seemed to have more energy. I don't know. She just looks so much better, so much healthier. But if you look at it, the chicken just looks like it's got a lot more nutrients. And I don't know how many of you buy store-bought rats. Have you ever bought a frozen rat or a frozen mouse? You thaw those babies out, and they're just like bones over skin. I mean, skin over bones. Don't do it backwards. That's Halloween. But skin over bones, they just nothing to them. And I've dealt with reptiles for about 30 years now, and one of the things that I've learned over time is if you want to reduce that striking that especially the snakes have got, lizards not so much, but snakes, it's nothing to walk past a cage. You can always tell if they get live food, because sometimes you walk by their cage and they'll just nail the glass trying to hit you because they're hunting. Well, one of the things that you do is you take and you feed them pre-killed food. And as you can see here, she's got a feeding bowl that I put in there before feedings, and then I put whatever that pre-killed, which now she's eating chicken. Put 2 chicken legs in there, and she eats them right up. And it's a process that I switched her over to chicken because I ran into a guy years ago who took care of Burmese pythons and alligators, and I owned a Burmese python. And if you've ever owned a larger snake, even these red-tailed boas can get 8 feet long or more. You're talking large amounts of food, and you just bring a lot of money. I mean, rabbits are expensive. Rats, to get a pre-killed rat is $8 to $10, and you're talking just one. Now, she's going to eat 2 of those a week. That adds up really quickly. For a tray of chicken legs, we went to Winco and bought a tray of chicken legs for about $4. Well, anyway, to get back to the story, the guy said that was doing the Burmese python. I guess didn't end that, but that's what he told me. He says, I just go and I buy whole chickens and I feed these things it. And he says they do great. Since I've done it, I tell you, I even have a rainbow boa upstairs. He's maybe a 2-foot snake, and I feed him tiny little chicken wings. Thaw him out. I put him in the same process, whether you're using a big chicken leg like this or the wings. I just use a 5-gallon bucket, throw in hot water, drop them in there, let them soak for about 30 minutes. You try to get their temperature up to, about 98 degrees, whatever it would be for a living being. You want to make sure that what you really want to make sure is that it's not frozen anywhere, even down to the bones thawed out, because it's bad for the snake if they eat some frozen stuff. And then you just put them in there, and they'll figure it out over time. They figure out that that's their food. And this red tail, you might notice, has got lighter colors than an average like Colombian red tail. This one I bought off of a friend of mine who bred snakes and bred this one, to get this one specifically, so this one would produce albinos. It's got a het gene. I forget how much, the percentage, but anyway, it was pretty high. It makes her really a light color. She's a beautiful, beautiful animal. And one day I'm thinking about breeding her. I'm possibly going to get another red tail. Something you may notice is this snake, it might look like it's probably getting a little big for this cage. This cage is a temporary cage. We're in the process of actually building a custom cage. She actually come out of another custom cage, but again, she outgrew it, so she's in this big glass aquarium. This snake currently is about 4.5 feet. We just measured her. She just got through a really nice shed. Again, just looking beautiful. Her cage that I'm going to put her in is going to measure somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 feet by 3.5 feet wide. So it'll be plenty big for her as she grows and gets bigger. I had a Burmese python I mentioned earlier. For years I had her. She was in a cage, I think measured somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 feet long by about that same 3.5 feet wide. That allows you to get a nice big water tray. These snakes love to soak, and it's good for them. and they still have a nice basking area. Unfortunately, this one being glass is hard to keep heated, especially I'm in the Northwest. It's -3, in fact, currently, right now, outside, -3. So down in the basement, which is where we have her, this basement doesn't heat very well. The ambient temperature is around 60 degrees. I have a big heat light right above that's shining down on her, and I have to keep it on 24 hours a day. And since I do that, she stays really good color, nice and warm, but I have to leave the light on 24 hours a day to do that. In a custom cage, what's nice is then you get the wood in there, you can put a heater in there. The reason I done this video is to show you maybe or give you another option on feeding. Feeding these animals, especially these larger ones, can get very expensive. And this, buying this chicken and that, economically is a lot more better for your pocketbook, and the animals don't suffer at all. In fact, I've seen this animal get larger. It looks healthier. The sheds are even better. Being on the chicken, it just seems to get more nutrition. So I hope it helps someone out, maybe another reptile person. Goodbye.